Hey Toy fans, Rob here, and I want to try something a little bit different tonight. So I have been taking some pictures recently for Instagram for a photo contest. As you can see there, hashtag WhoCrew100 right there on that piece of cardboard. And I'll put the picture up on screen that I actually made from this. But I was about to take this whole thing down, and I thought, you know what, instead of just taking it all apart and putting it in all the boxes and just kind of moving on, I thought, maybe people who like my photography would want to see how I put this together. So it's not really a big secret, but I feel like it's something anybody could do. So I thought we'd go ahead and just take a look at it. So let's see what this photo is all about. As you can see here, I did decide to use Gwenpool. She's my pick to be added to the Who crew. So this is a picture that is supposed to be Gwenpool kind of pulling her weight, as it were, right? Or actually the team's weight, I guess, in this case. And I just thought it was kind of a fun idea. One thing I did with the Gwenpool, Gwen herself normally has a very nice smile on her face. In fact, this is actually what Gwenpool's head is supposed to look like. But I knew that I wanted to have her kind of like sweating it out or working really hard. So I tried to find a head that would kind of convey that. And I actually looked at several different options. What we ended up with here is actually a maniacal green goblin head sculpt for a Minimate, or head print, I guess I should say. I just took his hair off. You can see I'm actually using Green Goblin's hair to hold up that hashtag sign, but once we put it on, you can definitely tell that that's Storm and Norman, right? But I tried a few other things, and you can kind of see the thought process that I went through here. The first thing I thought of was to go ahead and use Vulture. I don't know why I thought of Vulture. I mean, I knew I thought of him because he had a grimace on his face. But Vulture does not have a hole in the top of his head because he's not meant to have a hairpiece. So, you know, I put that got as far as putting that on the Gwenpool body, and then realized that Gwenpool's hood or mask wouldn't actually go on him. So I kind of had to rethink it. Thought about Juggernaut, but I ran into the same problem. The version that I've got is an older one, doesn't have a hole in the head, but I thought that mouth might look pretty great. You know, wincing while trying to pull the wagon. And I went through a few Wolverines. You can see this one here. This is not the original head that came with this new X-Men Wolverine, but it's a spare Logan head that I had that I liked putting on this. Also, we tried Siren, but I felt like the problem with Siren was once you put the mask on and you kind of cover up the eyes and the eyebrows, I felt like it looked more like she was singing, perhaps, or maybe making an inappropriate face. And that wasn't really the look that I wanted to go for. So I tried a few other things. I had this Bruce Banner head that kind of worked out mostly well. But then I thought the chin was too much. Here, let me see if I can get this mask on for you so you can see that. This is actually an MCU Bruce Banner head. And I didn't quite like that as much as what I ended up going with. I also tried, I believe, another Wolverine head. And I didn't really care for that one either. So I ultimately settled on the Green Goblin head. And as you saw in the photo, I think it worked out pretty well. So that was kind of my thought process there. I also wanted to do something that was, you know, just kind of a fun, not tech background, not, you know, whatever, just room. And I kind of came up with this, in my mind, this was kind of a park. So I had this bench that fits Minimates pretty well. I'm not sure what scale this is supposed to be. What I can tell you is that it's a little bit too small for a 6-inch figure, and I don't have one handy here. In fact, let me just go ahead and grab one. I'm gonna set that down for just a second. Okay, so here we go. We have the Marvel Legends Quicksilver figure. You can see 6 inches tall. Let's go ahead and set this bench down, and you'll see whatever scale this bench is supposed to be, 6-inch figures, that ain't it. He's just way too big. But it works out really well, I think, for Minimate figures. So I decided to have that as a background element, decided to put Dazzler on there, and the way that she was positioned on the bench in the photo was kind of like her mouth was covered, like she was saying, oh my, look at that. And then I decided, you know, if we're gonna fill this thing up with a little bit more detail, this is supposed to be a park, let's go ahead and just put like a skateboard here, like she rode in on the skateboard. And now that I've torn this apart, it's not gonna look exactly like it did in the photo. But then I also have these turtles. These are from the Minimates Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle line. These are actually Spike turtles that came packaged with Raphael. Spike was the turtle that ultimately became Slash on the what is it, 2012 Ninja Turtle cartoon. So I thought it was kind of fun to have those in there, especially with Gwenpool running. I thought juxtaposing it with some turtles was kind of a fun idea. And then, of course, we had the sign that I already mentioned, and then we had the wagon. Now, this wagon was a bit of a challenge to get positioned. You can see they're already wobbling. The Hellfire Guard, or Hellfire Hank, if you will, he's balanced on the rim of the wagon. He's not got a stand or anything like that. And as long as you don't bump it, he stands up pretty well. And I gave him a Mjolnir because, of course, he's worthy, Hellfire Hank. There is no Frogman Minimate figure, so I thought it was kind of a fun idea to go ahead and just use a Kermit Minimate figure. And you can see he's just kind of curled up and laid in the bottom of that wagon. Tigra was one of the harder ones to get in here, and I hadn't really considered it. I thought I'd just have her sitting in here or standing, but she has a lot of hair on the back of her head that actually made her quite difficult to stand in the wagon and sit in the wagon. So I don't know if you can tell here, but I've got her tail over the back end. I've got her hands actually gripping the sides of the wagon so that she actually stays upright. And then with her in that position, I was able to kind of stand Captain Britain in here and have him kind of leaning on Tigra so that he doesn't fall over. The surface that you're seeing for the grass is a shirt that I've had for a very long time. This is one of those natural shirts that were all the rage in the late 90s and early 2000s. Definitely a touristy thing, but my father-in-law gave it to me as a gift many years ago. There's a tree frog on the other side of it. But, you know, with this sort of different colors, I don't want to call it camouflage, but it's kind of got just these tones that, you know, kind of suggest grass or, you know, like a natural floor. In the back, you're going to see that we have this fence. This just came from, I want to say Hobby Lobby. It's meant for fairy gardens, but I got, I don't know, quite a bit of it. You can see this whole length of this thing, and then if you look off here to the right side, it bends around. It's got wire in it, so you can kind of position it. But I want to say this thing was like $1.50. I was kind of surprised at how cheap it was, so I went ahead and picked that up for the video. Didn't have that before. And then I just have some old, really awful, terrible head maquettes that I made when I was in college learning to do sculpture. Nothing I really want to brag about, but they're great weights so that when I put cardboard against them and foam, it holds itself up. And on the back, I've got just an old Xbox 360 propping it up on the other side. So that's kind of what went into doing this. I guess I should also say, let me loosen some knobs here. I also have just a standard ring light, as you can see here. I was using that to light the photo. When I actually took the photo, I had that light going, and I also had a separate light from an old phone. Both of them gave a sort of whitish color, light blue to whitish color versus the yellow that you typically see, or at least I feel like I typically see with LED lights. So I like that. It kind of preserved the daylight look. But this ring light that I was using does have the ability to change what color temperature it is. So you see right now it's on daylight, but I can switch it to more of an evening glow or even an even more extreme. That's very yellow. But I prefer to have it on this setting. I think that's the most natural looking. So basically after that, I got everybody in position like I wanted to, and then I just had to find the right angle. I mean, for as small as these Minimates are, it doesn't really help you to have a tripod in place. I mean, it'd have to be, you know, a really short tripod that's like right up here in the figure's face. Let me go ahead and grip this wagon with Gwenpool. You'll see here, from the perspective where we're at right now, she's not really running right at you, and that's one thing that I liked about the picture that I took. So what I did was I just kind of took the camera free-handed, and bear with me here, and I just started getting in there, and I was trying to find what's the best possible angle. And of course this isn't going to look exactly like the photo that I took, but you get the idea here. If we had the mask on top of that with the head that I originally used. But yeah, I just kind of moved around until I got the look that I wanted. And I probably took 10, maybe 15 photos till I got it just the way I wanted it. And then just did a little bit of color touch up in post, just to make sure, you know, it popped and it was vibrant. And I kind of like how it turned out. So that's how I took the picture for Gwenpool running with the wagon. And that's similar to what I did with Captain Britain as the baby that Captain Britain Sr. wasn't expecting. And with the lineup photo that I did recently, I didn't really make too many changes to that. That was definitely on a tripod, and I wish I would have done a little more to play around with that. But that's kind of that was kind of the process that I went through. I tried different Minimate heads. I tried different props that I had. I used just a t-shirt, for goodness sake, for the ground. I mean, you can really kind of put this stuff together if you just kind of look around the house and see what you have. Now, not everybody's going to have miniature stuff. I happen to have miniature stuff because I like collecting that sort of stuff from Minimates or Marvel Legends. But you can see what you've got. Sometimes figures come with great accessories, and that's all that went into it. So that was my thought process for this photo. I hope you guys enjoyed this sort of behind-the-scenes look at this. If you did, let me know in the comments below if you got any tips out of this, what tips you'd give me moving forward. Be nice. And yeah, thanks for joining me today, Toy Fans, and we'll see you next time.